Merry Christmas, darling. I'm leaving you tonight for the woman who's been warming my bed for the last 2 years. The words hung in the air like a knife over the candlelit Christmas table. 22 family members froze, forks stopped midair, children's eyes wide, grandchildren staring at the twinkling tree as if it might explode. And right there, in her own home, on the holiest night of the year, Clara Bennett looked up at her husband of 30 years and answered with a smile so calm it sent chills down every spine in the room. "Merry Christmas to you too, Tom," she said softly, reaching into her pocket. "And here's your gift. Divorce papers, already signed, with every dirty secret you thought you buried." His wine glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the hardwood floor, just like his perfect little plan was about to. "Oh, my sweet dears, pull up close now. This is Grandma Ruth, and I'm going to tell you the whole story from start to finish, the kind of tale that makes us women over 40 nod slow and say, 'Yes, Lord, justice does come home to roost.'" Her name was Clara Bennett, 58 years young, living in a beautiful brick house just outside Nashville, Tennessee. Silver threads ran through her dark hair, which she kept pulled back in a soft bun. And her eyes, Lord, those eyes held 30 years of love, sacrifice, and quiet strength. She married Tom Bennett when she was 19. Barefoot in a cotton dress under a dogwood tree. Together they raised 3 children, Emily, Nathan, and baby Grace. Clara stood beside Tom when his construction company nearly went under twice, when he battled prostate cancer, when the floods took half their savings. She kept the books, baked the pies for church, rocked the grandbabies, and loved that man with every beat of her faithful heart. But love, even the deepest kind, can't always stop a wandering eye. It started with little things. Tom coming home later than usual. New shirts Clara hadn't bought him. A sudden interest in the gym at 62. A lock on his phone he swore was for work, Clara noticed. But after 30 years of marriage, she chose trust. She told herself it was nothing. Until the first motel receipt fluttered out of his jacket pocket one October afternoon. Her world tilted, but she didn't scream or cry. Clara got quiet. Real quiet. And quiet women, darlings, are the most dangerous kind. She hired Hank Dawson, a retired Marine turned private investigator who'd tracked more cheating husbands in Nashville than the honky-tonks had broken hearts. For 4 long months, Hank followed Tom. Photos poured in. Tom and a blonde woman named Samantha Hayes, 39, divorced, worked as a realtor, kissing in the parking lot of the office, holding hands at lower Broadway bars, checking into hotels on weekday afternoons. One photo even showed Samantha wearing Clara's missing pearl necklace, the one Tom swore he'd misplaced. But the money trail hurt worse than the kisses. Clara, who'd handled the books for Bennett Construction since day one, spotted strange transfers. Small at first, 5,000 here, 10 there, then bigger. Over 18 months, Tom had quietly moved $428,000 into an account in Samantha's name. Down payment on a condo in Destin, Florida. A new Lexus for her. Diamond earrings that sparkled on Samantha's ears while Clara wore the same gold hoops she'd had since her wedding. Clara printed every bank statement, every text screenshot, every hotel folio. She took it all to Miss Diane Whitaker, the toughest divorce attorney in Davidson County, a silver-haired queen who'd shredded more cheating men than a paper mill. And the prenup. Oh honey, that old prenup Tom's daddy made her sign back when her family still owned land. It had an infidelity clause buried deep. Proof of cheating plus financial misconduct meant Tom forfeited nearly everything: the house, the mountain cabin, the retirement accounts, majority share of the business. Clara didn't file right away. She waited, she prepared, and she let Tom dig his own grave deeper. Which brings us back to that fateful Christmas Eve 2024. The house smelled of pine and prime rib. Clara's mother's china gleamed under candlelight. Poinsettias lined the table. All 3 children were home, Emily with her husband, Mark, and their 6-year-old twins. Nathan flown in from California with his new girlfriend Sarah. Grace with her fiancé Ryan, Clara's sister, Louise, and a handful of cousins filled the rest of the seats. After dessert, Tom stood, clinking his glass like he did every year for the holiday toast. Everyone smiled, expecting warm words about family and gratitude. Instead, he looked straight at Clara and dropped the bomb. The room went dead silent. Then, 3 seats down from Clara, Samantha Hayes lifted her champagne flute in a little smirk. Tom had invited his mistress to Christmas dinner in Clara's home. Clara's hands rested steady in her lap. She looked at Tom, then at Samantha, then back at Tom. "Congratulations on finally saying it out loud," she said, voice soft as falling snow. "Because I've known since that first motel receipt 6 months ago." She reached into the pocket of her green velvet dress and slid a thick white envelope across the tablecloth. "Your real Christmas gift, darling. Divorce papers. Signed this morning. With copies of every text, every photo, every dollar you stole." Tom's face drained of color. He tore open the envelope. Papers spilled out: divorce petition, financial disclosures, color printouts of him and Samantha tangled in hotel sheets. "You? How?" he stammered. Clara stood slowly. "Remember the prenup you insisted on? Turns out it protects me too." She turned to the family, voice still gentle. "Y'all go ahead and have more pie. There's pecan, chocolate, and coconut cream." Then to Samantha, "You might want to check your banking app, sugar. Every transfer was reversed this afternoon. Every single penny." Samantha fumbled for her phone, eyes widening in panic. Tom lunged forward. "Clara, we can talk privately." "No," Clara cut in, steel finally edging her voice. "You wanted an audience. You've got one." She tapped her phone. Suddenly Tom's own voice boomed from the smart speaker on the sideboard. "A recorded call with Samantha. Once the old lady signs a fair settlement, the Florida condo is ours. We'll be set for life." Emily burst into tears. Nathan stood, fists clenched. "Dad, how could you do this to Mom?" Grace, always the quiet one, blocked the hallway when Samantha tried to slip away. "You smiled at me all evening knowing you were destroying my mother. Get out." Mark and Nathan escorted Tom and Samantha to the door. Tom was crying now, begging on his knees by the Christmas tree. 30 years, Clara. The kids. Please." Clara looked down at him. 30 years of lies, Tom. 30 years of me believing I wasn't enough. You did this in front of our grandchildren. No more chances. The door closed. The deadbolt clicked. Then Clara turned back to her stunned family, poured herself a small bourbon, and said, "Now let's save Christmas." And they did. The twins opened a few more presents. Someone put on Elvis's Christmas album. They ate pie and told stories of better years. The house filled with cautious laughter again. "Sweethearts, what do you think happened to Tom and Samantha after they drove off into the snow that night?" "Think they rode off into the sunset." "Keep listening." January brought ice and court dates. Tom hired an expensive lawyer, thinking charm and money would fix everything like always. But Miss Diane was ready. At the first hearing, the judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, granted Clara exclusive use of the house, froze all accounts, and scheduled mediation. Tom moved into a drab extended-stay motel off I-40. Samantha? She vanished to Atlanta within weeks once the money dried up. Turns out she had another sugar daddy waiting. Clara, meanwhile, started living. She turned the guest room into a sunny office, hired a sharp young accountant named Mia to help run the company. Clients had always loved Clara anyway. Bookings actually increased. She joined a book club at the library, took up watercolor painting against soft Tennessee landscapes that made her smile, spent weekends at the cabin with the grandbabies, teaching them to fish and make s'mores. Emily moved home temporarily with the twins. The house rang with children's laughter once more. One Sunday in April, Clara did something wild. She signed up for a songwriting workshop at the famous Bluebird Cafe. She'd always loved music, scribbling lyrics in notebooks since girlhood. Now she had stories to tell. It's a golden September evening. Clara sat on the porch swing with Grace, flipping through wedding magazines. When his battered truck pulled up, he'd lost weight, beard unkempt, eyes hollow. "Clara," he called, voice breaking. "Can we talk?" Grace stiffened, but Clara touched her arm. "It's all right, baby." She walked down the steps. Tom held out a single red rose. "I was wrong," he whispered, "about everything. Samantha took what little I had left. I've been sleeping in the truck some nights. I miss you. Miss our life. Please, can we try again?" Clara studied him for a long, quiet moment. "Tom Bennett," she said at last. I loved you with my whole soul for 30 years. I built my world around you. And you threw it away for a woman who ran the second the money stopped. Tears streamed down his face. I forgave you months ago, she continued softly. For my own peace. But forgiveness isn't forgetting. And it isn't going backward. She took the rose, laid it gently on the porch rail. Go build an honest life, Tom, but it won't be with me. He stood there sobbing as she walked inside. The divorce finalized in November 2025. Clara kept the house, the cabin, majority of the business, and most of the retirement. Tom received his tools, his truck, and a modest settlement more than he deserved. Christmas Eve 2025, 1 year later. The table was set again with the same china, same candles, but new joy filled every corner. Grace's new husband Ryan carved the turkey. Nathan's fiancée Sarah helped with the twins. Laughter was real this time. After dessert, Clara stood and raised her glass. To family, she said, voice steady and warm. The ones who stay when it's hard. The ones who love you even when you're broken. And to new beginnings. Everyone cheered. Later, little Sophie climbed into Clara's lap by the fire. Anna, she whispered, do you miss Papa? Clara kissed her curls. I miss the man I thought he was, sweetheart. But I love the life I have now. And that was the truth. Spring 2026 brought more miracles. Clara sold Bennett construction for a handsome sum enough to live very comfortably forever. She bought a cozy lake cottage on Center Hill, traveled to Italy with Emily, New York with Grace, and planned the Grand Canyon with Nathan. And her songs? One gentle ballad about forgiveness and starting over got recorded by a rising Nashville artist. You might hear it on the radio someday. Silver linings after the storm. Tom works steady construction now, lives in a small apartment, attends the grandkids' events when invited, keeps his distance, learned the hardest lesson a man can learn. Now, my precious ones, here's where Grandma gets a little teary. This isn't just a revenge story. It's a love story. Clara's love for herself, finally blooming after years in the shade. It's proof that after 40, 50, 60, your best chapters can still be ahead. That betrayal can break your heart but never your spirit if you don't let it. If you're listening and you've been hurt, overlooked, told you're too old for dreams, hear me clear. You are enough. You are strong. And your justice, your joy, your new song is coming. Shown mercy sooner? Held the line longer? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this story touched your heart, made you cheer, or wiped a tear, do this old grandma kindness. Hit like, subscribe, ring that bell for more tales just like this. Share it with a sister, a mama, a friend who needs reminding she's unbreakable. Next time I've got a doozy, a greedy daughter-in-law who tried to steal an inheritance right in the hospital room. You won't believe the twist at the reading of the will. Until then, stay fierce, stay gentle when you can, and always protect your beautiful heart. This is Grandma Ruth, sending you love bigger than the Tennessee sky.